So I did a thing, and that was putting Sonic Mania on my Galaxy Fold running at 60 FPS using the Nyushu emulator, which got a recent update, by the way. So I'm going to do a little showcase and also show you some of my settings that I also set for the emulator.
It's crazy to me that this game came out in 2017, but yet there's still no faithful Android or iOS version of this game. Now I know that there's an Android version on the Play Store that requires you to have a Netflix account, but from what I saw and experienced, the game feels pretty choppy, the controls are horrible, and needing a subscription just to play the game is the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
So I believe that the best way to play Sonic Mania on Android right now in 2025 is through using the Switch emulator. Now, the device that I have is the Galaxy Fold 6, which is more on the higher end of the device spectrum, but I do have a lower end device which I could test. I could make a video on that and test how Nyushu would run on my lower end device, which is I believe it's a Galaxy A15, I believe. But let's get into the settings. So here, you'll notice that I switched the Snapdragon driver on Nyushu to the Turnip driver. And the reason I did that is because the Galaxy Fold 6 uses a Exynos chipset, which is more compatible with the Turnip driver. So it'll give me the most compatibility and accuracy when playing Switch games compared to if I use the Snapdragon driver, which I've used before. I encountered more of like graphical bugs. Next, we'll go into system, and a lot of the settings are already set to default. Speed percent, keep that on 100. Docked mode is off. Emulated region USA, unless you're living in a different country, maybe switch the country to what you're living in. And custom RTC, just go ahead and leave that off as well. Next, we'll go into the graphics. I'm still experimenting with the resolution, and so far I have it on 720p, but I noticed that after playing for a while the device gets a little bit warm, so I might lower it down a bit. I'm still experimenting with it. VSync mode, leave off. FDR sharpness, I leave it at 50. I might experiment on that a little bit later and see how the device handles 100, but for now keep it on 50. Other than that, all of the other settings here are left on default. I haven't tweaked any of these, but if I do make a video on my lower end device, I may tweak a few settings like asynchronous shaders, which lets the GPU process graphics and game effects at the same time, giving it smoother gameplay, but at the cost of encountering some graphical glitches. So you might encounter some graphical glitches if you turn that on, but you will get a little bit of smoother gameplay. So going into the game here, I just want to say I love the way the Fold is able to separate the screens from the controls. Not a lot of emulators on the Fold do that, except for the Nyushu Switch emulator, and I just want to stress that enough that I love that feature. So all you have to do is bend the screen just a little bit, and like it'll split the screen off from the controller. So like I was just so fascinated by looking at that. I was just like, damn, this is actually pretty cool. And speaking of controller virtual layout, I made sure to turn off certain controls that I didn't need. I turned off the D-pad because I honestly don't like the way the D-pad feels on this emulator. It feels too thick, and the registry input feels like it's only towards the tip of the D-pad, not the entire D-pad itself, and I just can't get used to that. I felt more comfortable using the left analog stick and tweaking a few settings like turning off relative stick center. That way the entire stick doesn't move to the right or the left. I like it to just stay right in the middle. I just like it to stay in place. And I also don't like the haptic feedback on the Nyushu emulator. I can't describe how the vibration feels. Like, if you've ever used a Drastic emulator, the haptic feedback, it just feels responsive, but on the Nyushu emulator, the haptic feedback, it just feels like a lazy vibration. just feels pretty lazy, and I just turned that off. But I made sure to toggle off your R3 buttons as well, because I mean, you don't really need that for Sonic Mania. And a few of the other buttons, kind of like the other pair of shoulder buttons. But other than that, this is pretty much going to be my layout for Sonic Mania. And honestly, I'm glad I found a way to play this game on my phone besides the clunky Android version. Yeah, if you want me to make a guide on how to set up this emulator, or if you want me to test more games on this device, or maybe on my lower end device, the Samsung A15, let me know. And yeah, if you want me to tune in to some other emulators, maybe I'll tweak. I'll show you how to set up Drastic or Azahar 3DS emulator. I can go ahead and make some videos on that. But yeah, just go ahead and let me know in the comments. But yeah, if you like this video, just go ahead, like it and subscribe it. It'd be much more appreciated. I've been on and off with this channel for about 6 years now, but I think now I'm kind of at the point where I'm like, okay, you know what? I want to make some emulation and video game content, retro content, and just kind of test. I'm still in the early waters of this, early in my journey with my emulation channel. So just kind of be patient with me, and yeah, we're gonna see how it plays out. So, but yeah, I'll talk to you guys later.